My biggest fear in life is if there is a final resting place in this world and there's a final judgment and you talk to something much bigger than you. I don't want to sit down and have a conversation with someone that says, you're in heaven, this is what you should have been on earth. I want God to be up there right now as we're speaking, writing stuff down, saying, my God, he exceeded even my expectations. Wow. That's how I live my life. I now know that there is no cap on the human mind. There's no cap. We cap it ourselves.
You can't wait for everything to be perfect to start living your life.
It's not about your resume. It's about resuming your calling. A resume is just going over a study of where you've been, but that's already in your past. You're not focused on your past. You have to focus on your future. Who do you want to be and who are you when no one else is watching? That matters more than anything else. Hit resume. Take your life off of pause. Stop doing things just because it was easy. Don't do it just because someone else told you to. Trust that God has called you to do something. Answer that call, then chase down everything that goes along with it and believe that there is a reason why you're the one who got the number to God in the first place.
A pine tree grows and matures very fast. An oak tree grows and matures very, very slow. But which one lasts longer? And which one's stronger? Which one shelters more critters and more birds? Which one, when it's done and over and it's cut down, which one is more valuable for the lumber? People don't go out and say, I'm gonna spend extra money for some pine furniture. They want oak furniture.
If you fake bravery when you're terrified, that is bravery. And I kind of feel like motivation is the same thing. If you do the thing when you're feeling unmotivated, that is motivation.
So don't be afraid to reinvent yourself, and don't be afraid to be different, man. You ain't got to fit in the crowd. Why are you following everybody when you were clearly meant to lead?
Stay focused. Don't listen to nobody. What's on your mind, just do it. Because what's destined for you, you're going to get it.
So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I fucking need.
The moment you find what you love, you'll understand there's a difference between a skill and a calling. You've been called to do something great. It's about answering that call and discovering that there's something unique about you from the time you were born. God embedded inside of your will a desire to fulfill your purpose. But how do you find your purpose? It's by dialing in, focusing on the things that you love to do. That's how you answer the call to your purpose.
Are you controlling the things that you are capable of controlling? Okay, because if you were to control the things that you can actually control, you would have far less chaos in your life.
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours, refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks.
If you find yourself in an anxious time, if you find yourself frustrated and angry and mad because you feel like you're continuously spinning your wheels and not getting anywhere, you are probably not controlling what it is that you control. You're not understanding that we actually control our momentum, and you're frustrated because other people have it and you don't. The reason you don't is because you're not executing past the point to where things that are uncomfortable become a little more comfortable.
that hunger to be more, to do more, to give more, that hunger that never ends. If you can, I think everybody has that hunger, but for some people it's been asleep for a long time because they're afraid. They're afraid that I'm gonna get hungry, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna fail. And so it's human nature to protect yourself from the fear by just lowering your expectations. You get what you tolerate in yourself, you get what you tolerate in your life, and sooner or later we sometimes hit a point where we say, not another day, not another hour, this is done. I'm not walking this way, I'm not talking this way, I'm not living this way, I'm gonna change it. And when people do that, that's the beginning of a breakthrough.
Every next level of my life demands a new version of me. Oftentimes we got goals, dreams, and aspirations and want to acquire and do certain things, but you still the old version of you. You haven't grown. In no sense of the word. You haven't experienced enough. That's the great thing about experiences. People are so afraid of experiences, but the great thing about experiences, you learn who you are, what you possess, what you will do. You learn from different situations, different scenarios. When you fail, you learn. When it doesn't go the way you want it to, when it goes the way, you learn, right? How do you grow? You learn. How is character formulated and sustained? You learn, right? And so when it says, let the hard things in life break you and affect you, it's not saying let it break you to the point that you crumble. What it's saying is let it affect you.
And every single one of you out there have the superpowers necessary for greatness. But until you're backed into a corner, like an injured, hungry, thirsty dog, you don't really realize how much you have in you. That is something that no test can measure.
Go after your dreams. I never allowed anybody to tell me what I was capable of accomplishing. I never let anybody tell me that I can't do it.
The human brain cannot comprehend the negative. It is incapable. And so what happens is we very often reinforce things when we put things in the negative, right? I can't get a part, or I can't do this, versus I'm gonna keep doing this. It's such a huge thing to convert things into the affirmative. It's the same thing for you. If you focus on the obstacles, all you will see is obstacles. It's your choice how you choose to perceive your own career. It's literally perspective.
Life is hard for two reasons. It's hard because you're living in your comfort zone. It's also hard because you're trying to live outside of your comfort zone.
A quote that has helped me immeasurably is a boy and a horse are in the woods. And the boy says to the horse, I can't see a way through. And the horse says, can you see your next step? And the boy says, yeah. And the horse says, then just take that. All of the time, we look at the goal, we look at the future, we look at the end game, we look at how long a journey it is, and we feel overwhelmed. With each step, you will get closer to that. All I need to focus on right now is my next step.
You know, the war that you have to really fight is the war against yourself. You have to fight the war against yourself. Now, it's not easy to look in the mirror and to change your own life. It's hard as hell. You have to take responsibility. You have to learn new things. You have to feel uncomfortable. Good, because discomfort is how we grow. That's how we become strong. If you run away from discomfort and resistance your whole life, you will always be weak.
What the great ones understand is you're always going to be guaranteed success. You're always going to be guaranteed fulfillment when you're doing it for the process and not the product. If you're doing it for the product, then it's a hit or miss. But when you're doing it for the process, when you're doing it because it's in your heart, when you're doing it because you're doing it for compassion and passion, and you're doing it for somebody bigger than you, come on, man. You're going to be successful. There's no way you can fail. That's the promise that was made for you to be born.
You want a goal that you can never attain, right? So you can always move closer to the goal that recedes as you move towards it. You think, well, that's frustrating. It's like Sisyphus pushing the rock uphill. But it's not, because as you pursue that goal, you put yourself together and your life does get better and richer and more abundant. And that's why the highest levels of virtue and goal are in some sense transcendent. You want them to be above everything you're doing so you can continually move towards something that's more sublime and better. That's what you are. You're here to live, not to sleep.
You have everything that you need to achieve greatness, and you've got a duty and a responsibility to the world to demonstrate greatness, the highest version of yourself, the 2.0 version of yourself, the most self-actualized version of yourself. You must become the man that you love, that you respect, that you admire. That is your duty. That is my duty. You've got the next 6 months ahead of you. You can either be a loser and say you will wait for the new year to come to reset your expectations and a resolution, or you can start today and reprogram yourself for greatness.
Human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person.
Why can't I just do whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want to do it with whoever I want to do it with? And the answer is because everything goes to hell if you do that, including you. And you say, well, I don't believe in hell. And I say, well, keep acting the way you are and you will. If you're motivated by the whim of the moment and you place that above all else, that is now your God.
Here's what you should know about winning before you chase it. Winning's not loyal to you. It doesn't care about you. Winning doesn't care how sore you are. Winning doesn't care how much sleep you get. Winning doesn't care how hard you work at times. Winning requires all of you and then more, and it promises you nothing. It's a mastermind of creating fear and doubt in your mind. It causes setback after setback. So the question is about winning. Are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown?
A lot of people, they wish, and they're not willing to work. And the great thing about life has a funny way of testing all of us and seeing how bad we really want what it is that we say we want. Because the thing I know about people can talk the talk, and people do it very well. And life is going to say to you, you said you wanted it, now let's see how bad you really want it.
And I said, most people underestimate their abilities and their capacity, and then they overestimate other people's abilities and capacity. It's almost like you'll put yourself in a position to think that greatness is somehow reserved for special people, and that you don't belong in that category of special, like almost like you don't have what it takes.
Wisdom comes from experience, and experience takes time. The more experience you have, the more you learn from that experience, the wiser you can get.
In life, people emulate the end result, not the process. The end result is what they see, and they emulate that. Are you willing to put in that sort of commitment? Are you willing to practice the whole life? Yeah, I'm sure you want to be on a jet and all that, but do you want to put in that work? That's what it takes for something great, that amount of time, that level of commitment.